It's Jonathan Agarfield for Pro Boxing Fans. We're here in Manchester at the workout for Benn against Van Heerden on Saturday night, joined by Frank Smith. Frank, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm just back from a bit of sun in Spain. Had a couple of days away and had one week off and no shows. So all good, mate. Glad to be here in Manchester. Lovely sunny day.
Back at it Saturday night. Conor Benn returns against Chris van Heerden. What do you think of this test for Conor Benn? Obviously his first southpaw. What do you think of it?
Look, I think, Conor Benn is still at a stage of his career where he's learning and developing. He's 25 years old, but it's because he's in such a forefront of the eyes of the sport in the UK and abroad that people put pressure on and say, why is he only fighting this guy? I think he's going to learn a lot against Chris van Heerden, just like he would have done against Chris Algieri. Like you say, first southpaw he's faced. You need these kind of nights to prepare you for what's to come if you're going to go into those mega fights in the future. You don't want to be going in there against the best, against the southpaw who's the best in the world and go, I've never fought anyone like this. These are the kind of learning and experience he needs. And, you only have to look at recent results, whether that was Galahad against Kiko Martinez. Experience means so much in this sport, and I think it's a good fight for him, and I think he'll learn a lot.
That said, a lot of people don't think this is a tougher opponent than Algieri, Granados or Vargas. So what do you think on that argument?
I think he brings different strengths. Like you say, first southpaw he's faced. I think that's a big thing in its own right, and I think that's the kind of thing Conor needs to do as he progresses his career. So look, everyone's got their, rightly so, everyone will have their opinion on it, but at the same time we're taking the steps that it takes to develop Conor Benn into what we believe he can be. He would fight the best tomorrow. He'd fight all the names you've heard tomorrow, but we have to do that at the right pace as well with him.
Now, obviously, he won't look past Saturday night, but, working with Matchroom, what is the next best fight for him, in your opinion, if he wins on Saturday?
I think there's so many fights. We've spoken about Kell Brook before. That would be a great fight. Talk about whether he fights Chris Eubank Jr. currently. Spoken about. I think Amir Khan's a really good fight for him still at this point. You've got the likes of Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia, Adrian Broner, Eubank Jr. in the future as well. Not now, but in the future. So these are all fights that are possible for down the road. So hopefully we can, our aim is to go and make those mega fights happen, and we're working behind the scenes.
I guess it's a bit of a difficult one because in this division there's very little bridge between maybe the level he's at now to the top of the division, Crawford, Spence, Ennis, all those people. So what would you say is that fight? Is it, Avanesyan's always mentioned Kavalauskas. Do you think we see him against a level like that in the near future? I
think we'll see him against the level of the sort of names I just mentioned in the future. I think that is our aim for a good, really, strong fight in the summer for him. All eyes focus on Saturday night, but those sort of names in the summer.
What's your pick from the undercard?
I really like Billam Smith-McCarthy. It was a really close fight the first time round. I think that's a really strong fight. Glad to have Alicia Baumgardner on the card as well. She's been training and she's been prepared for this for a long time. So glad to have her back. After her performance in November last year. So some good fights to look forward to. Campbell Hatton's back. He looked really improved when he fought on the Okoli undercard. So looking forward to see that. So some big fights on the card.
Right, picking this back up with Frank Smith. Alicia Baumgardner is in the ring. Now, Frank, we had Gennady Golovkin beat Ryota Murata in Japan on Saturday night. So move closer to that Canelo fight. What do you make of his performance?
Look, I think Golovkin's one tough man, isn't he? And he showed that. He's had a long time out the ring. When you think, I think his last fight was December 2020. Before that, which is a long time at the stage of his career. I thought the earlier rounds were a bit tougher than maybe people expected. Murata put up a great performance, showed a lot of heart as well. Showed a lot of heart because Golovkin caught him with some big punches. So I don't think it was the best Golovkin we've ever seen, but he showed, as he always does, that he finds a way to get through people. The next steps are very interesting.
I've seen mixed reaction now to this Canelo trilogy. Some people think that they want to see that based on especially the last 5 rounds of the fight or whatever it was where he looked good. Others think, well, seeing what we saw in the first few rounds, that Canelo would deal with him handily. What's your opinion?
Well, I think this is a guy who's had, 16 months almost out the ring. So those first few rounds, I'm not really surprised that they weren't the peak level we've seen Golovkin at. I think if the Canelo fight happens, that's a fight that Gennady will get up for. That's a fight that Gennady wants, and he believes he can get the win. You know, Canelo's obviously got the Bivol fight on May 7th as well, which is a really tough fight as well. So, you know, I think, again, people have got their opinions on what they think, but I still think that fight, that, you know, it's a massive fight.
The rematch between Anthony Joshua and Oleksandr Usyk, talked about a date in July, potentially in Saudi Arabia. Where are we at with that?
Yeah, I actually spoke to Alex Krasik yesterday. We're working towards all the details of that now. That's the fight we're doing next. And hopefully in the next 5 to 7 days we'll get everything together. There's various sites we're working on. Saudi Arabia is one. So as soon as we got some news, we'll let people know, because we know how anticipated that rematch is.
There were quotes from Usyk's wife or partner, I believe, saying that he's lost, I think, 10 pounds during sort of the war he's involved in Ukraine. Are you guys in constant contact with sort of Usyk and Alex Krasik, you know, regarding sort of his state of mind? Because it can't be easy training. I know he's said he's going to take the rematch, but it can't be easy training for this whilst that war's going on in the background.
Yeah, look, I spoke to Alex Krasik, as I said yesterday. You know, obviously, look, I can't imagine what he's going through. Any of them, like anyone who, you know, from the Ukraine, who has family in the Ukraine, I can't quite imagine it. And, you know, thoughts go out to everyone. I do know that Usyk is 100% committed and training for this fight. You know, it's a massive fight, and I think, you know, as he said in a statement, he's going to go in there and do it for his country, and he believes this is a big, you know, statement, and you know, he believes he can help his country with this fight as well. So, you know, I think, look, I can't speak for his. Oleksandr Usyk's a very strong character. We all know that. We've all spent enough time around him. You know, and I think, as I say, from our discussions, he's 100% focused and ready to go with this and training hard. As we know, he left Ukraine recently, and he's in, you know, real training for the rematch.
And Haney Kambosos has gone to ESPN, 2-fight deal there. Bit of a blow, in your opinion?
Yeah, look, I'd be lying if I said we didn't want to do that fight. Of course we wanted to do that fight, but it's a deal that made sense for Devin Haney to fight George Kambosos and become the undisputed lightweight champion of the world. We've had a great relationship working with Devin Haney. He's a great guy. I get on with him very well personally, and I wish him all the best. And, you know, the aim is that he does that and comes back, because, like I said, we work really well together, and you know, we've invested very heavily in Devin Haney. But this was an opportunity, as I say, for him to go and follow his dreams and become undisputed champion. We're not going to stand in the way of that.
And just finally, Tyson Fury, Dillian Whyte next week. They announced the undercard. Got quite a bit of criticism, but from your perspective, if you had won the purse bid and, you know, you had that much money to go to the main event, is it difficult to put on such a strong undercard given the amount of money that's going to the main event?
I understand where he's saying that, you know, they put a lot of money into it, but at the same time you have to deliver good value for the people paying 25 quid and paying for the tickets. You know, they talk about they've broken records in terms of ticket sales. They think they're going to do 1.5 million pay-per-view buys in the UK. You have to deliver a good undercard. If that was us delivering that undercard, could you imagine the stick we get? And I'm not going to select like individual fights, but it's just not strong enough for a pay-per-view event of that.
I mean, in terms of the fight itself, very few are backing Dillian Whyte. I saw David Hayes say he's going to win the fight. How do you see next week going?
Dillian Whyte knocks him out.
Round?
Nah, don't know. 1 to 12.
There you go. Frank Smith, appreciate talking to pro boxing fans, and look forward to Manchester on Saturday night.